Welcome to Six Pack Discussions, where Cody and Jared take on the biggest, most talked about headlines with logic, passion, and a six-pack of beer.
If you're listening, we challenge you to take an unbiased view of the world, as we know these conversations are complicated. So sit down, crack a beer, and welcome a new perspective. What is going on, guys? Cody and Jared here from Six Pack Discussions, just starting up. Recording on a Saturday, so it's nice and sunny out.
Yeah.
Midday. What are we drinking today, buddy?
Today we're drinking the Atomic Pumpkin by New Belgium. The spicy release.
Ooh. Yeah, I saw this. And
dude,
I'm gonna say
speaking of beers, we have to address, dude, how many episodes are we up to now? 70? 80?
I think we're at 80, yeah.
80? For the first time, we screwed up so bad.
Oh, yeah.
We didn't give a rating.
Last episode, we talked about it and everything.
Oh, yeah. We literally, also the first time, we took it from 6-pack discussions to 4-pack discussions.
Yeah.
And we forgot to, guys, just kind of a funny level to tell on ourselves. Our head hits the pillow that night.
Yeah.
And we literally text each other. 9:30, 10 o'clock at night.
We didn't rate the beer.
Shit, guys.
Didn't rate the beer. So, sorry about that, guys. That was Juice Force.
Yeah. It was, 9.8?
It was a little high.
A lot of high.
I probably would have honestly ranked it a little lower. I was not.
Oh, I was actually not impressed.
I
remember it tasted like Hawaiian Punch.
Yeah, I thought it was gonna be better than I had a high anticipation of it, and it was not as good.
I don't feel comfortable giving a number right now, but I
Yeah.
just remember I didn't like it.
Yeah. So today, guys, we are talking about a not controversial subject, but
There's nothing to be controversial.
Yeah, but I think extremely important subject. We're talking about childhood obesity and why recently I think the Academy of the Pediatrics changed a lot of their recommendations around childhood obesity. Is it good? Is it bad? What is childhood obesity, and should it be something that we're worried about? I don't know, Jared, anything to add to that kind of summary?
If it's not something we need to worry about, ironically enough, as I was doing research this morning, I just happened to be, actually, I wasn't doing research. I was just doing additional reading with the Economic Times.
Yeah.
They are projecting and actually going to be presenting next week. So probably about, by the time this airs, this will probably be about 1 to 2 weeks old. By 2035,
Okay.
51% of the world population will be obese. 51% by 2035. They're literally presenting that to the United Nations next week.
You know, it feels contradictory to the other problems around,
World hunger.
and climate and all those things that are going to impact crops, because to be obese, you just need to be able to consume a lot of food. And if you're going hungry...
Well, is it really a lot, or is it just poor quality?
I think it's a mix of both.
They're literally calling them, this is actually BS. And I don't know did you come across energy-rich foods?
I did not, but I know what that means. Oh,
If that's not a marketing term, I don't know what is. That was actually pissing me off. Oh, we need to start consuming less energy-rich foods. What do you mean by energy-rich foods?
Oh, the amount of energy that goes into producing it, like beef.
Well, not necessarily beef. No, what they're talking about is those high-sugar, high-fat foods.
Oh.
That's energy-rich.
Like honey?
No, like McDonald's fries and cheeseburgers and chips and candy.
We need to stop consuming those?
Yeah, so much.
Oh, energy rich. Interesting.
That's what they were calling them. Energy rich, i.e. high in fats, high in sugar.
I love that. And who's this is the UN?
No, that was the CDC.
CDC.
They were calling them energy rich foods.
And it's the amount of energy to produce it, or is it the amount of energy that's stored in it?
That's stored in it with the sugars and fats.
So like a stick of butter would be an energy rich food.
That would be a very energy rich food, yes.
Okay. Ooh, I don't know about that. I like a stick of butter. But
I try to keep it to one a day. Keep the doctor away, I think is what they say, right? But isn't that kind of...
Yeah. Huh.
Even on the CDC, it's like, guys, why...
So 51% of the population going
by 2035.
2035. That's the world or America?
World.
Really?
Yep.
I could see America for sure.
4.1 billion
We're already
people.
around 40% in America. Obese people. But children, getting into children.
Yeah. So I did take us off track, but
Yeah.
just kind of pertinent, I thought. But
So right now, did you see how many American children are obese?
oh yeah, I believe it's 19.4.
Oh, okay. Maybe you're a little higher than what I had. I had 14.4.
Maybe I misremember. I thought it was 19.4.
4 and 9 look similar. But still, 14.4 to 20 million kids right now in the U.S. are living with obesity.
And that's between ages 2 to 19, correct?
Yeah. Yep. And really what that means is, hey, these are kids that are, very overweight, have a higher risk of asthma, have sleep apnea in most cases, have bone and joint problems, type 2 diabetes, and already are precursor to heart disease at 16, 17.
So here's where I have a problem with this. And did you know, so the definition of obesity, did you look that up?
Yeah.
It's a BMI over 30.
Yeah.
You and I
Obese.
are obese.
Yeah.
We both have BMIs at around 30. I think I'm 30.4 and you're 30.1.
Wow. We're almost the exact same BMI. And guys, for size-wise, right, I am 5'8", a tad bit under 200 pounds.
And I am 6'2", 235. And
So-
we are both obese.
Yeah, interesting. And you're 6'2".
Uh-huh.
Yeah, because how BMI is measured is essentially your height divided by weight.
Yep.
Right? Or your weight divided by height, which one? Either one. So what they do is they say for every, inch that you are, you can have 10 pounds of weight or whatever that metric is. And if you're over the amount of weight for your body weight, I think they say a healthy BMI is 20 to 25.
Oh, I thought it was
Maybe 18, actually.
19 to 24.
Yeah, that's what it is.
19
I'm
to
sorry.
24.
I like even
Because
numbers.
it's 25 to 30 is overweight.
Yeah.
Over 30 is obese.
Yeah. And then over 35 is morbidly obese, I think.
Oh, I didn't get into morbidly obese.
Yeah,
I don't
there's
remember
one
that on
more.
the scale.
But still, me and you were overweight for sure.
No.
Obese, which is even crazier.
By our BMI.
Yeah.
Obese.
And this is something that I actually saw in a recent study from the CU of Boulder. It's funny. You probably saw this on Jerry News. They posted, and this actually kind of got me my head going earlier.
I'm a big Jerry News guy. This isn't ringing a bell.
So Jerry News recently just published that obesity now is linked to a 91% increase in the rate of death.
Ooh, didn't see that one coming.
I didn't see that coming, but here's the funny thing. That's very controversial apparently in the medical world. The medical world has always said that there is an inverse relationship with weight and your rate of death. And so I know, isn't this crazy? So I didn't know this, but almost all of the medical journals up until this paper, which is so controversial, has essentially put a U-shape, if you're looking at me here on YouTube, right? A U-shape to your rate of death and which category of BMI you're in. Meaning if you're underweight meaning under 18 BMI, you actually have a higher rate of death than somebody that is regular or healthy, overweight, and then essentially obese. But if you get into the morbidly obese, you're then back into the high death rate.
Got it.
So they actually said the best case scenario is actually somebody that's overweight to obese. And I look at that and I'm like, ooh, that doesn't make sense. And so what the issue is that the CU of Boulder uncovered is that they're using BMI in a bad way.
Well,
and that's what you were, I think, trying to allude to here, is BMI is not a good indicator.
Well, I didn't come across this in any of my research, but the more I'm thinking about it right now, correct me if I'm wrong, but whether you're underweight or you're obese or morbidly obese, you're malnourished, right?
I think if you're obese,
why can't I say that word?
Malnourished. Yeah, yeah, that's a weird word, huh? Malnourished. Yeah, I know what you mean.
Yeah. Why can't I say that?
I can't. After you said it, I was like, "That's how you say it." I can't say it.
Dumbass.
Yeah. Well, I think if you're obese, you can probably be satisfied. Like you probably are consuming all of the things. You're just over consuming in some cases too.
You think a lot of obese people are eating fruits and veggies?
No, but they're probably having a good amount
malnourished.
Malnourished.
Holy hell.
Yeah, sorry. There you go.
Why was I trying to add a T?
I don't know. Malnourished.
Okay.
So I think obese people, were considered obese.
Okay, so actually let's talk about that.
Okay.
So is that a wrong
BMI?
statistic
That's what I was
to
trying
track?
That's what I was trying to get to with the CEO of Boulder, is that they're saying that we should be getting rid of the BMI, and what we should be looking at is lean body mass comparable to fat stores. So the percentage. So percentage of body weight. So they're saying, hey, you know what? BMI, it's easy. The only reason we really use it, it's military. World War II, they essentially used the BMI to determine if you were fit for battle or not fit for battle.
They don't even use the BMI anymore in the military.
Yeah, but that's where the standard came from. And we've kind of used it ever since. Let's just say it was a quick thing. Weight, height, simple thing.
Yep. Number, go.
And probably, honestly, if you look back into the 40s and 50s, there wasn't many obese, like legitimately obese people. So it was probably a pretty good metric. Now we're in a world where obese people are 40% of our nation. And when we mean obese, I actually mean that their body composition is a majority fat.
Well, that's actually why I don't even know why we're complicating it. Why isn't it purely body fat percentage?
That's what I'm trying to say. But lean body mass to body fat.
Yeah. I mean, hey, if you're over X percent for a man, X percent for a female.
100%. 100%. And now the problem is it's much harder to get that, right? It's much harder to get that number.
Yeah.
It's not like an easy...
With the measurement and all that
stuff.
stuff.
You have to do measurements with calibers. You have to do I think a water tank.
Yeah.
They now have these really cool machines that I
The
saw.
pods?
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's the best one, apparently.
Yeah, that's why I did the military a lot.
And it will give you a percentage and saying, hey, your lean body mass, which, guys, that means like your organs, your bones, your muscle, blood, all of the things that are kind of necessary.
Yeah.
What is that? That's your lean body mass. Okay, and then how much fat on top of that do you have?
Our outside linebackers coach in college, he would literally say, you will run until you're under 10. Yeah. And needless to say, I was never over 10.
Yeah.
Yeah, I didn't want to play that game.
Yeah. So what is the, for a male, if you were to say, hey, you know what, percentage-wise, how much body fat would you say is optimal for like we're 30 years old?
Yep.
Optimal for a 30-year-old, 31-year-old. What is optimal for a 31? Not optimal. Let's just say like an average male.
Acceptable.
Yeah. We're not a Olympic athlete.
Yep. I would say anywhere from probably 15 to 25.
I would say the exact same thing. That's
15
fine.
to 25.
If you get sub 15, you start getting to athlete level.
Exactly. You're clearly training.
You're training
regularly.
multiple times, right, a week, aggressively.
You're very cognizant of your diet. Like, It is hard to be in that single digit to 10 to 15. I would say it's hard to be under 12.
Oh, yeah. Well, under 10, you are very vascular. You are extremely lean. This is like six-pack status.
Oh, yeah.
And that's where you actually start getting into an unhealthy level of nutrition.
Yeah.
Right? It's very hard to get all your nutritional bases hit when you're under 10.
Yeah.
And that's where you see some people, they hit 10, they hit 9, they hit 8, but they're not going to be able to do that for a long period of time.
Yeah.
It's very like for 3 months of the year, 4 months of the year, they can be under that 10, and then all of a sudden they blow up to 15 again. It's almost suboptimal.
And then for women, I'm not even going to try to take a guess there. I know it's a lot more.
Yeah, I think it's probably 5 to like 7% more. So,
I thought it was like 10 to 15% more. Like women carry a lot of.
They carry a
extra
lot.
fat.
Yeah, I would say they're probably around 20 to 30, or even 25 to 35.
Probably okay. I'll go there.
Yeah, that's probably an optimal.
I'm not as comfortable talking about the women number because I've never done too much research on that.
Yeah,
but I would say 15 to 25 for males all day.
Yeah, and I would say some females are going to fall in the same category, but most of them are going to be 20 to 30.
Well, I do know for females to get below, I want to say it's like below 15%.
Mm-hmm. It'll affect.
You start like messing with like your menstrual cycle and all that. Like I
think it's below 15. So if they get below 15, unlike males, their hormone levels start getting a little bit messed up because the estrogen levels start going, I think, higher, and their testosterone levels get a little higher. And so all of a sudden they're like, what's going on here? Because they're not ready to prepare for a baby.
Good.
That's really the whole thing, which is hilarious.
Anyways, so this is where it's going to be a really interesting conversation because all the data that I can only reasonably assume that you took, and of course that I took, from our research, all of them use this antiquated metric of BMI. Yeah. So if we're calling the definition, if we're calling it invalid, because I would there's no way in hell that any reasonable person would say that people sitting in this chair and this couch are obese.
And this is where I think you're going to like this. It's called the obesity paradox. So people that are in the obese category, 30 to 35, and people that are in the healthy category, 18.5 to 25, have the exact same amount of risk to death. That's what they call the obesity paradox. Like, okay, obese must not be that bad for you. And so there's a couple of papers that I read through, and what they're finding is that, unfortunately, if you look at over time, the person that was obese for a majority of their life loses a bunch of weight in the last year or two of their life due to some cataclysmic event, heart disease, cancer, things like that. So you go from somebody that, let's say, is 100 pounds overweight, obese. Let's say obese in what I think everybody's envisioning is obese.
Like, that's what was really interesting to me. Whenever I always envision obese, I envision those people that, guys, I know I'm going to sound like a prick, but almost make you uncomfortable to look at.
It's for conversation here, it's somebody that doesn't want to sit in a chair for the possibility of it possibly breaking, or that they can't fit in between the rails.
The people you want to avoid on the airport.
Exactly. When you're on a plane and you're like, I don't want to sit next to him because they will be touching me the entire time.
Yes.
That is somebody that, the person's like, oh, you know what? They probably should have 2 chairs on a plane. That is somebody that is morbidly obese, probably. I know that's even weird, but that's somebody that's 60 to 70% body fat. Percent, not BMI. Their body is more fat than lean body mass.
Yeah, probably, if not more.
That's what morbidly obese normally is. But it's funny, when I worked at the gym, my general manager, I was ordering chairs because we needed to replace some like leather chairs. And I had them all like in my shopping cart, and I was like, hey, I'm just gonna order these chairs. And she's like, hey, order the same chairs, but order them without the armrest. We don't like to make people uncomfortable when they come to the gym. And I was like, these are pretty big chairs. She's like, no, we like to be kind to people. Because some people, I didn't know this was an issue. And it's funny, I'm going to come down a little bit of a rabbit hole. There's actually a whole movement to remove any chairs in restaurants and things like that with armrest. Because people feel uncomfortable sitting in them because they can't actually sit in the chair.
So do you think once you are past a certain weight, maybe not a certain weight, but a certain waist line, that you should be required to buy 2 seats in an airplane?
Yeah.
I think and I'm so happy that you didn't hesitate. I know you sound like a prick, and I sound like a prick for endorsing that.
I don't think it's prick. I think it's actually a prick if you don't do it. I think that sounds spineless, or not spineless, but it sounds so aggressive. I think you are impeding on my space that I paid for. Mm-hmm. And I think it's just rude. And I think the airline is catering to somebody more so than somebody else. So we both buy $400 plane tickets, yet I only get to use 80% of my chair.
If you're lucky, yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And that is, okay, do I get to pay 80% or 20% less for my ticket?
Okay. So where else does it go? Because I know people I fly Southwest a lot.
Yeah.
People avoid my middle seat like the plague. If there's another 6'2" person, similar build, that will be, if not the last, top 2.
Yeah.
Most empty seats. So where is it at? Because I don't think it's just for the fat people. Should it be a guy my size?
Yeah, I think it probably is a measurement.
Where's the line?
I think it's measurement. So if you look at a, NFL linebacker, they are not obese, right? But they have a shoulder width of 46 inches.
Yep.
So guess what? Sorry, but your shoulders are touching me.
So almost, should it be an airplane chair?
Yeah. Measure.
If you exceed that,
yeah,
I agree.
Yeah. I think there is a measurement that they say is what the width of the chair is. And if you exceed those widths, sorry, you have to pay for 2 chairs. Or there's maybe a specific aisle, right?
Yeah.
That is not, on a Southwest, it's normally 3-3.
Yep.
Sorry, it's 2-2. And they are plus size chairs.
Yeah.
They're a little wider.
They're 150% of the cost because obviously the revenue still has to match.
Yep. And so I don't think there's any issue with that. And they say, hey, guess what? When you show up, just like with your luggage, if you look wider, we're going to measure you, which I know that sounds so demeaning. But if you don't get measured, somebody else now is going to be affected by you negatively.
So it's really funny that you just mentioned the word demeaning.
Oh, okay.
So how quick is someone that witnesses another person smoking? Oh my gosh, you shouldn't do that. How quick is someone to have an intervention with someone if they think they're drinking too much?
Pretty quick.
So why is obesity something that is irrefutable at this point in time, irrefutably dangerous to your short and long-term health in all aspects? Why is that still, and mind you, it is still a choice. I understand there are hormones in effect, your thyroid, all the shit. I get it. There are certain factors that make it more difficult to maintain a healthy weight. Mm-hmm. But largely,
it's
regardless of what source you look at, it is still
doable.
So why is obesity that one? Because you choose to drink, you choose to smoke, you choose to eat McDonald's. Why is obesity that one to where people are like, oh?
I think there's two reasons. And tell me if I'm right or wrong. One reason, historically, the fat people were actually the most rich.
That is true. That was a sign of wealth.
Exactly. So if you think about it, historically, we've actually been always very probably
envious of fat people.
Exactly. So if you were,
and actually, guys, let's just take a quick 15-second break. What we're talking about here, guys, is, before refrigeration and processing of foods to be stored in a healthy way, in a safe way, in order to be in order to be fat, in order to be obese, you had to have an abundance of wealth because you were always buying more food. So that was all literally like the lifted truck of the 1600s was a big belly.
That's what I was going to say. 15, 16, 1700s, to be heavy, to be obese, or even overweight, essentially meant that you had enough money not to go hunting by yourself.
Yep.
You could pay somebody else to go hunting for you. Multiple hunters.
Yep.
And so
Sorry, I didn't know you were
no worries. So that's my first thing is I think there's kind of like a historical trend there that might be still in our DNA. Like,
okay.
Hey, you know what? Overabundance is not that big of a problem because it means that you are well enough to live and be wealthy enough to afford the food. So I think there's kind of a little bit of like a connection there.
I can buy that.
Yeah. The second thing is, it's funny because the exact opposite has now occurred to my first point, but I think the trend has now been after you become, if you go through education, the trends tell you this. Obesity is a lower social economic problem.
Yep.
Which
lower wages, lower education.
Exactly. If you have lower education and if you have lower wages, you're more likely to be obese in America. Which is interesting because it's the exact opposite of what historically has happened. But I think what happens there is the challenge of getting nutritious food and the time it takes to do it sometimes can be challenging, to be quite honest, right? And if you're in a situation where you might be working two jobs, you might have a couple of children, maybe you're a single mom, whatever it is, thinking about cooking a nutritious meal from whole ingredients that might cost very similar, if not the exact same amount.
But a lot less time.
But there it is. Time. And when you have very little time now because of the amount of work you're having to do to generate money or wealth or income, it becomes a challenge. And so I think there's two things. And what I meant by that second one is that unfortunately it affects a lower social economic class, right? Or lower education class. And so if you attack that group, you are coming from a place of privilege.
Got it.
So it's kind of a mix of both, they're complete opposite. Fat people are well off historically, so why would you ever attack them? Envious of them. And nowadays, wait a minute here. You're in a class that, is already disadvantaged in some other way. I don't want to attack you because now I'm coming from a place of privilege because I have an extra hour to cook dinner myself instead of having to stop by McDonald's at 10 o'clock at night. Yep. And so I think those two kind of somehow play somewhat of a role. What do you think about that? Those theories?
So honestly, on your second one, 100% aligned. That's what I figured you were going to say. And that's borderline not even an opinion. That is a fact.
Yeah.
But I wasn't going to go to the roots. the roots of it to where, hey, you know, having an abundance was a hard 400 or 500 years ago.
Mm-hmm.
So I wasn't going to go there, but I thought I'm happy with there. But
I think they both play a role, but it's weird because they're exact opposite of each other. Yes,
all right, guys,
beer time.
For the second beer. Can't screw this up now.
Let's give it a rating.
All right, so this is,
We've done it 79 times. Somehow we messed up the 80th.
Rookies.
Yeah.
All right, so this is New Belgium's Atomic Punk.
Bro. Can we do it?
Malnourished. New Belgium's Atomic Pumpkin Spicy Release. It's a 6.4 guy, all orange can. Kind of this fun little, you know, classic New Belgium with a skeleton.
Yeah. What do you say? Biker? Kind of biker-esque with the leather jacket.
The cool pumpkin patch.
Yeah, man.
Do you taste pumpkin at all?
Yeah. This beer tastes like it is a perfect around a campfire, Halloween, Thanksgiving-esque. It feels like I should be kind of bundled up underneath a blanket almost around a fire. That's what I like. It's got that nutmegish test. That's where I think of pumpkin. Nutmegish. But it's weird. It's got spiciness. That habanero.
So it is a spicy drink.
Yeah. I like how they call it spicy, or like they X out the special release and they say spicy. It's got some bite to it, but it's a cool flavor. I think it's very unique.
The only drink that I will allow to be spicy and enjoy it is a Bloody Mary.
So this is not good to you.
This is horrible.
Oh, wow. Is this like a porterish almost? It tastes kind of maybe that's why too. It's a darker beer.
I don't do well with spice in a drink.
Oh.
In anything other than a Bloody Mary.
Is it kicking you in the back of the throat a little bit?
Sure.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Okay, so what's your rating on this, Jared? You seem to be really, really excited about this.
1-4?
1-4.
Yeah, 1-4. Yeah, I don't like it at all.
Okay, guys, if you like unique tasting beers, I don't think
it's really unique. Yeah.
I don't know if you can grab this. I grabbed this about a month ago.
Okay.
It probably was like the last of the winter sales. But if it comes out again during the holiday season this year, I recommend getting it. I recommend getting it. I like it. I think it's probably like a 3.5, 3.6.
Wow, we haven't disagreed on this.
I know. I'd buy it
spectrum.
again. It's very unique, and I kind of like the spice. I'm like, man, this is kind of fun. Kind of fun. It's a fun tasting beer to me.
There you have it.
Yeah. 2 beers in, guys, or a beer and a half in. Go check it out. Voodoo Ranger Atomic Pumpkin, probably out this holiday season. Okay, dude, we
probably won't be back out.
We kind of have. Yeah, I know, right? We've talked for the last 20 minutes about obesity. BMI, probably not a good indicator.
Clearly
Recap
not.
real quick.
Clearly not.
We should be talking about percentage of body fat.
Yep.
We've talked about how, if you're an adult and, if you are going to affect others, like on a plane or something like that, you probably need to, pay for 2 seats. We've talked about some negative stuff. Okay. What about kids? Because that's really what we want to dive into today. So for the next 20 minutes, let's talk about kiddos.
Okay.
Because this is a little bit of a subject that I have a little bit of passion about. I actually really like the subject. I think it's something that when I saw that the Academy of Pediatrics, which is the essentially doctors that are for kids, they recently changed their guidelines they haven't really changed their guidelines around obesity for kids for 15 years. And they announced, I think this was about a month ago, maybe a month and a half ago, beginning of the year, 2023, they announced that instead of the normal intervention, helping train the parents around diet, getting the child to have more activity during the week, that was the recommendation. They are now recommending drugs, simagultide, which is the drug.
Good, I like it.
It's a fat loss or a weight loss drug meant for type 2 diabetes and type 1, I believe. They're looking to now recommend that for children. Guys, we're talking 7-year-olds, 8-year-olds, 9-year-olds, right? And or surgery for 11 to 19-year-olds if you are considered obese as a child. So when they changed that, I've actually bumped, I don't know if you noticed, I bumped this one up. So this was like number 112 episode. I bumped this up because I was like, dude, this is relevant. And I'm like, that is a huge move for pediatric doctors to make the recommendation. Because what that means, if it's recommended now by the CDC, what that means is now insurance companies have to cover those drugs and those surgeries for children.
And what happens to our insurance premiums?
I don't know if the insurance premiums go up, but what does happen is that the drug companies and the surgeons and the hospitals, they make more money. Because now you have not just 20
Well, they make more money from the insurance companies, which then pass on that burden to us.
Yeah. But they can bill, they now have more people to bill, right? They just opened up their 20 to 60-year-olds that would be able to get those drugs and surgeries to now 5. They just opened 15 more years of life to getting more drugs and more surgeries.
Well, true, but why aren't we focused on the root cause?
It depends on who's making the money. Do farmers, right? Is going in and building a farm and raising cattle or whatever it is, rancher, is that really profitable? No. You know what's really profitable? Being a surgeon, being a hospital, being an insurance company, being a pharmaceutical company. That's much more profitable. So if you're lobbying for the CDC to change something, why would you focus on the root cause when you could fix it with a remedy that you can charge $20 for?
So the root cause is really interesting. And I'm going to and I'm not trying to muddy the waters here, but what is the root cause? Is the root cause a lack of 2 people income households? Is the root cause that fast foods are addicting and convenient? Is the root cause a lack of education? What is that root cause for the growing?
Interesting.
Is the root cause a almost desired dependency of drugs in an environment and a stigma that it's okay to be on 3, 4, 5 prescription drugs? What is the root cause? Because I don't know.
Okay, so I like all those options. I'm gonna throw some of them out.
Oh,
I'm gonna throw some of them out.
man, I don't know how you can throw any of those out.
I know. I'm gonna throw some of them out.
I might fight you on a couple because I don't know how you can throw them out.
You look back 100 years ago, how many people had dual income households?
Next to no one.
Okay. So dual income households, 0. I don't think that means anything.
Okay.
I do think dual parent households mean something, but you didn't say that.
I did that.
Okay. So dual income,
Fair
I don't
point.
think that matters. I don't
Fair
think
point.
the income level matters. I do think that having both parents does matter, but you didn't say that.
Yep.
So
Fair point.
one income, I think that's fine. We had 100 years ago, there was nobody that was obese. Let's be honest. Like, in America, you look at photos of any photo on a beach, you would find one fat person.
It's kind of fucked up because it was the Depression era.
Who cares? Okay, 70 years ago, whatever.
Okay.
120.
Thank you. Please just don't go 100.
You're like, that's when no one could get food.
Yeah.
The Dust Bowl.
Damn, we shouldn't laugh about that.
Yeah. 100 years ago, they're probably dead by now. Maybe. Shit. Sorry, guys, if you're a listener.
Sorry,
that's
someone's great grandma.
95 years old right now listening. But I think that you can have nutritious food. You can spend time. And I think it's probably more likely, actually, with single income families to have good food because there's some parent that probably can do a lot of cooking.
See your point there.
So I actually think it's the exact opposite. I think that dual income households are probably more likely to be getting fast food, right? You get 2 parents that are getting home late. They're picking up their kids from daycare. They're like, hey, they pick up their kids like, hey, it's already 6:30. Let's just grab some from Chick-fil-A. Let's just grab something from, McDonald's. Call up the husband, call up the wife, whoever's picking up the kids. Hey, I'm just going to grab to go. We'll bring it home. We'll eat it at house. I think that right there, if you're a family of 4, family of 5, that picture is probably extremely common to our listeners, right? Because stressful day at work, picking up the kids, let's just make it easy. Then we can watch some TV or whatever it is, hang out with the kids. So I think the dual parent income actually exacerbates the issue, right? The other one that I was going to discount, you said dual income, ease of fast food. Is that what you said? So like replacement of food?
Yep.
I think that's probably the primary.
The convenience and price.
Yeah, I think that might be the primary issue is when you go to a grocery store, it's intimidating to look at all of the components of food versus looking at the outcome of food.
So ingredients are expensive.
They are.
So that dollar McDouble that I can go buy right now, I cannot buy those ingredients for $1.
You can't. And you know, I haven't done the math on this, but I know there was a guy, I watched this video, he did this. So if you go to Costco, right, and you buy 15 hamburger patties, I think it's like $8 or $9 for the grass-fed 100% beef patties. I think it was, what was it, like $9?
I'm not tracking the video, man. I'm not sure.
No. Have you been to Costco? Have you ever bought those patties?
I never buy the frozen stuff.
Oh, no. We just started buying those, and I like to have frozen patties, 100% grass-fed beef in the freezer at all times now. It's an easy go-to breakfast, so I can just throw a little bit of ground beef into our eggs, right? Grass-fed beef. I'm good with that. And I was against frozen food, but I'm like, you know what? It's a hamburger patty. It's grass-fed. It's probably better than what I'm going to get if I'm not buying. Because normally when I go buy beef, I'm just buying beef. I don't know if it's grass-fed in most cases. Exactly. So it's kind of like an equilibrium there. Like, grass-fed is probably outweighing the frozen part.
Trade-off.
So I think, okay, let's say $9. So per patty, what is that? 70 cents, 80 cents? $9 for 15? I know, 2 beers in. But let's just say it's under $1.
Okay.
So it's under $1. So there's the most expensive part. Tomato, 70, 80 cents.
Okay.
That probably can do
The
4
bun?
burgers.
The bun?
The bun's the most expensive part.
The cheese?
Cheese, not that expensive. We buy cheese. We buy a whole block. You're looking at $6 for a block. But I think if you look at the total, it's probably about $1.50 for a, let's say, 30 to 40% better quality burger. What do you think?
Okay.
Timeout? Okay, timeout.
Okay. Is your math solid? Okay.
It's close.
Is the concept solid?
Yeah.
I don't want to, nitpick. Oh, it's 85 cents for a tomato. I'm talking about the concept is solid. You know what else is solid? Investing.
Mm-hmm.
You know what else is solid? Having a solid emergency fund. But you do realize that only applies to a small fragment of people that understand time value of money, compounding interest, et cetera, right?
Yeah.
So do you think people, because what you just articulated, the block of cheese, the buns, the burgers, I understand you broke it down to a per burger at $1.50, but really that's a $50 investment.
I know.
You're going to be able to make those 40 burgers to get your $1.50, or the math works out. But it's going to be a $50 investment to where I can 100%. Go to McDonald's and for $1.08, I can get my cheeseburger. I cannot get a cheeseburger for $1.08 anywhere else.
Yeah, you're right.
That's the thing. Is the concept what you're saying irrefutable? No,
you're right. 100%. I think that, and you see this at gas stations. I think this is a perfect thing. You see when
get a hot dog or a burrito.
No.
Oh,
somebody walks into a gas station. They're like, "Hey, can I get $5 on 3?" Why didn't you just get a full tank?
Because they didn't have the $50.
Bingo. They're like, "Hey, I just need to make it to work today."
Yeah, paychecks tomorrow is in.
Fuck, you're right.
So
the upfront investment.
That's the bitch of it.
Is a barrier. Even if it's the same cost in the 7 days, it's a barrier. Fuck, you're right. Okay, you're good on that one. Okay, so you're right. Convenience cost is a barrier to healthier food style. What other ones did you offer?
Oh, dude, now you're asking me that.
I know, 3 minutes ago. I'm sorry, dude. Okay, but childhood. Dude, we still have not talked about kids, dude, really that much. So, okay, I want to walk you through this. All right, I got 2 little kiddos. Are they fat?
So that's actually, it's funny that you went here because that's why I asked you about Lil. So Lil, not anymore. I would say she's really grown up over the last 6 months. But Maverick,
what do you think about him?
That little ball of pudge, are you kidding me? But it's all off breast milk. He's in the 99th percentile on height and weight, correct?
Yeah, I think it's 98 on weight.
Oh, I'm so sorry.
He just got measured.
Sorry, Maverick.
98 on weight and 98 on head. I think his height is kind of shorter, though. I think he's like 70.
Okay.
But whatever.
He's a big boy.
He is the thickest.
Yeah.
The thickest.
He doesn't miss many meals. But
Guys,
one could argue it's literally the most organic, most healthy meal he could be having.
And this is funny because obesity.
Because he's 100% breastfed, correct?
So obesity does not start until you're 2 years old.
Yep.
They don't measure it because they know that little babies, they actually need the extra body fat. It helps with brain development, right?
When did you say like Lil?
2 years old.
Stop, because she was a chunky little one.
The chunkiest, right? Just like Maverick.
Oh, yeah.
They look exactly the same up until they hit 2.
Yeah.
And the funny thing there is that when they hit 2, or when Lillian hit 2, all of a sudden she started growing. And this is something I want to get to, is how many times, especially, I remember, we were similar heights at some point, but then all of a sudden you would grow 2-3 inches. And where did the 10, 15 pounds of obesity go?
Yeah.
It went into
Dispersed,
bone growth.
yeah.
It got dispersed. And I think it's interesting that they change these rules for people that are in development. I think it's very restrictive. When you have somebody going through puberty that grows literally 2 to 3 inches over summer between 1 year of high school, and they go from, 9th grade to 10th grade, and they come in and all of a sudden they're hitting 6 foot, and they were the obese kid last year, and this year they're a fucking stud.
I mean, remember, I was the fat kid.
Oh, yeah. That was 6th grade, 7th grade.
Yeah, 11, 12 years old.
Right?
I was the fat kid.
And then guess what? 7th grade, 8th grade, you're like, thank God.
Yeah, seriously.
You're like hoping for 5 inches.
Woo!
You got 4, you're like, I'll deal with this, whatever. And all of a sudden, and you're like, oh, this matters. So I think it's because let's say your mom was extremely cautious and like, oh my God, I have an obese child.
Yeah.
Because on the BMI index, you would have been obese.
I probably on the BMI index, I'd be curious to see a point in time, literally my entire life, I'd be curious to see a point in time where I've not been obese on the BMI.
Well, you were less a while back. You were probably like 220, 215.
Like in college?
Yeah.
Yeah, I was okay, so I'd probably overweight, technically, according to BMI index.
Yeah, but let's say back when, every single male that I know of went through a pudgy phase, right? And usually it's right pre-hormone pumping puberty era, right? It's kind of like, hey, when you hit puberty is like when you all of a sudden sprout a couple inches, you earn some muscle, or you gain some muscle. I don't know if you earn it yet. You gain some muscle, and you kind of move through it. So it's usually in that like 10 to 15, there's a year in there that you are just really fat for males. If you have a mom or a dad that's extremely scared of an obese child, you have a doctor that you've trusted for years, and you go talk to them, and they're like, hey, you know what? Your kid is, in the obese scale. They're 34 on the BMI. They're almost morbidly obese. This increases heart disease. They have a higher cancer risk. Their lifespan decreases by 10 years. They walk you through all of the things that obesity does. And you have your 12-year-old kid here. And he's like, I like video games. I play soccer during season. I play baseball or whatever. Right? He hasn't hit puberty yet. And that doctor's like, hey, you know what? Let's start him on some simagultide. Let's get him, let's do two a day, 1.8 milligram injections of simagultide. This is going to help curb appetite and start reducing body fat. And yes, all of a sudden, and this drug is extremely effective but just so you know, start stabbing him in the leg. It's just a quick little injection. And all of a sudden the kid starts losing weight. And the parents are like, this is really working. What do you think about that situation? Because tell me that is not extremely likely to occur. And if you're on an insurance plan, they're going to pay for it. You're paying $5 for a monthly dose or whatever.
So here's where I'm torn. Because I think there's a big difference between pudgy and obese, because there are some gross looking little video game addicted kids. Right?
Mm-hmm.
So assuming, look, I'm not going to try to pretend I'm a doctor, a pharmacist, etc. Right? So assuming this drug that you're talking about, because I have not done any research on this, assuming that it's safe, reluctantly okay for the morbidly obese, not just the pudge, but the morbidly obese.
Yeah.
Because in order,
Remember those couple kids in high school that were just fat,
yeah,
right? And they were morbidly obese.
yeah, the gross ones, yeah.
Yeah. You're like, those kids are fat. Like, you were never at that point. I don't think.
No,
I've never been at that point.
Dude, I'm trying to figure out your pudgy phase, man. I've known you since you were 11. I can't.
Yeah, I think when I was 11 or 12, I was a little pudgier. Like, I look at photos, I was like, I probably had an extra like 10 to 15 pounds.
Okay.
And thinking, a little funny, I'm sure every parent has to do this at one point. Take your kids. You probably have this memory too. You go down to like a department store or
The fucking husky guy.
Husky.
The husky. I knew you were going husky section.
Dude.
Oh, it sucks.
I don't know if women know this for our listeners, but there is
Is that only a guy thing?
dude, I don't really do that to
Can
women.
you imagine calling a little girl husky?
I can't even stop laughing right now. So you remember you go down and especially when you get a suit. I think suits and jeans, or maybe there is a 12 husky, and it essentially says, hey, it's got an extra 2 inches of girth everywhere for you because you got a husky. And they would call, you remember this?
Oh, vividly, dude. Are you kidding
So this
me?
is why I know I was husky at one point. Husky, good term. Because I remember doing it. Now, my brother Chance, he went through a husky plus point in time.
Oh,
and
Chance has always been
thick.
Yeah.
And you look at my brother, you would never say he's obese.
Now he's
just thick.
you don't want to fuck with him, honestly.
Yeah,
Like,
yeah, he's just a thick kid. Yeah. Like every part of his body just looks thicker. It's not like he's fat. No one would call him fat. Right? No one would call him obese.
but he's never been defined either.
No, he just got like thickness to him. I don't know how else to say it. And
Big bones.
exactly, there's some bones in there for sure. But I remember the husky section, so that's why I know I went through that phase because I remember my mom saying, "Hey, you know what? Sorry, we're gonna have to get the 32 husky for you for this suit." When I'm like 12, and you're like, "Damn, I did the exact same thing, same thing." Okay. And anyone looks at us and they're like, "Oh yeah, you guys, you're not in Olympic athlete shape, you're not in professional athlete shape, but you're not, husky,
Right.
right? You're not thick." And that's why I was trying to say, like, every boy goes through this. I don't know actually about girls. I think girls probably don't go through it as much as males do. What do you think? What do you think the ratio is of what I would say huskiness of male to female in that kind of prepubescent and pubescent era? 10 to 15-ish.
Dude, honestly, I would almost put it like 4 or 5 to 1. Like,
Right.
I don't think girls have a fat phase.
I don't think so either. I think because they grow, they get to their height faster.
They physically mature
Exactly.
so quick.
Because they get to their height. Remember in middle school how many girls were taller than boys were? And all of a sudden, freshman year of high school,
It's like, haha.
exactly. And I think that's what happens is girls get those extra growth stages a lot earlier than boys do. And so we get a little pudgier.
All right. So we're on our third beer, man. We got to start talking about working for a day, right? So
Dude, you never answered my question. The drug thing. Do you think that some kids should get those drugs?
yeah.
Can I tell you some of the side effects of this drug?
Okay. Now, in my defense,
I know you didn't know.
I didn't know.
Okay. Basic stuff here, right? Nausea, vomiting, diarrhea,
Heard about it. Yep.
stomach pain,
Sucks.
fatigue,
Yep.
changes to your face. Interesting.
Like acne.
Nope. Like bone difference.
Oh, good. Like
Structural.
steroids.
Rapid weight gain after getting off of it.
Oh, cool. Okay.
Reduction of muscle mass.
It's almost like a pharmacy as a service.
Reduction of muscle mass.
Good.
Lower blood sugar, which reduces your activity, just so you know. Pancreatitis, which is known as the most painful disease on earth. Gallbladder disease and kidney damage. Thyroid tumors. Cancer in your thyroid.
Holy shit.
So those are the main ones. It's funny. Out of all of those, the one that makes me red flag the hardest is reduction of muscle. So when you lose weight, what happens when you reduce muscle mass? And just for everybody listening, this is kind of basic biology. every pound of muscle you have on your body, let's just say burns, I think it's on average about 5 calories an hour. Every pound of fat on your body burns 2 to 3 calories per hour. So what happens when you reduce your muscle mass? Your metabolism goes down. So now when you get off that drug that's curbing your appetite.
So they essentially create a dependency for lifelong.
Boom.
And then, of course, you have to live with that. You actually, did you ever hear, and I know, actually, I don't even know why I'm asking this question because I know you did, because I feel like this is probably one of the most common phrases ever said. Well, muscle weighs more than fat.
Mm-hmm.
How much does a pound of fat weigh?
1 pound.
How much does a pound of muscle weigh?
One pound.
How much does a pound of feathers weigh?
1 pound.
How much does a pound of steel weigh? That's probably the dumbest shit ever said to the masses I've ever heard in my life.
It's weird that you use the word mass, because I think what they were trying to get through when they say that is a mass. So the volume of 1 pound of fat and the volume of 1 pound of muscle is distinctly different in size. And they use the word pound inappropriately. You're correct. Sorry.
Muscle weighs more than fat.
It does if you look at volume.
No, it doesn't.
If you...
Muscle does not weigh more than fat. Case closed.
If you took a piece of fat and a piece of muscle that were the exact same size,
okay,
the muscle will weigh more.
Okay.
And it's because they were comparing mass, not weight.
That's a correct statement.
I know. But the weird thing though is me even conveying mass is confusing.
Oh yeah.
Because most people convey mass as weight.
Yes.
And so unless you're like in a chemistry class, it's hard to say that. So I think they use that as like a simplification. I know it's wrong though. Yeah. It's wrong.
But
okay, so semaglutide, right. I tell you all those things.
So
what are you thinking on that drug though? If I tell you all the side effects, I tell you it makes you lose weight, and now you're kind of dependent on it for possibly a long, long term, not just for that chunky phase. Does it make you feel like, oh, wait a minute here, are we not solving are we just kind of masking the real issue?
Oh, irrefutable.
Oh, okay.
Whether my answer is no or yes, we're masking.
Okay. What about the surgery?
Surgery, I'm 100% against.
Going in,
I would borderline say you're an unfit parent if you're okaying a surgery like that for your child. A
12-year-old boy going through husky phase, as we've now called it, getting a stomach, whatever it's called, gastrointestinal stapling.
What the fuck ever. I could make a reasonable, convincing argument that you're an unfit parent if you're okaying that.
This is somebody that's let's say the kid's morbidly obese. You would still say no. There's no instance where that kid should be going in for a 3-hour-long surgery under anesthesia and getting their stomach stitched up so they can eat less food.
I'm not an absolutes guy. However, I'm literally thumbing through all the hole poking and all this, but I can't think of an actual scenario where I would okay a child getting a surgery like that.
Yeah. I mean, okay, I'm on board with you, man.
It's one of those things where that's so bad because it's I understand, we're all created very different chemical makeup, right? Different thyroids, metabolism, etc. I get it. It's harder for certain kids. However, what's not hard is 60 minutes of play every single day. And I'm not talking about play. I'm talking about going and riding bike. How, honestly, it's so funny. I was going to my parents and guys, so my parents still live in the same house that Cody and I met in, actually. And I was driving there, and long story short, there was like a construction or some reason why I had to take a different way. And anyways, I drove past the path that Cody and I damn near met. You could set your watch to it every day after class or after school and would meet with our bikes, with just walking, whatever. Every single day for like a decade, guys. And why is that? Why are video games so cool?
It's easy dopamine. Easy dopamine.
But
That's
look,
wow.
Cody, I understand you and I are very different in a lot of different ways against the masses. I think you and I are actually pretty similar, but I'm talking about you and I are different than a lot of people, is what I meant to say.
Yeah.
But
yeah.
you and I, at least I can speak for myself, I thoroughly enjoyed putting my backpack down and walking or riding my bike to wherever the hell me, you, and Jamal were going to meet up.
Yeah, no,
that was fun for me every single day.
Oh yeah, every day. Like you would do everything to convince your parents. Hey, yeah, I already got everything done in my homework.
Yeah, I did my homework in my homeroom class.
Yeah. And then you just walk out. You get home at 3:00. Because class got out at 2:30.
Yep.
You'd get home. You would drop off your bag. You'd grab I would grab a bowl of cereal.
Yeah.
Right, or whatever it is,
or a little snack or fruit snack, whatever.
And then you get out the door as fast as you can. Say, hey, I'll meet you there at 3:00. And we wouldn't have cell phones. We didn't have any. We would just meet there and we'd wait around until the next person showed up.
Kind of new, yeah. Like whoever got there first, like sucks.
Yeah, you're just hanging out until you get there. And you would try to pick the point that was right in the middle.
Yeah.
Right? And you would ride your bike, right? Where you walk there or whatever. And I'm sure kids do this right now. And so surgery, you said no. You said, hey, you know what? The simagultide type, maybe there's some kids that need it. Possibly, but these side effects are pretty aggressive. Like whatever. And the one thing that's still on the list, and I think this one, I wanted to bounce this off you. So the last 15 years on the pediatrics list and still on there is what they call family intervention therapy. Essentially where you go to a therapist for 12 weeks or 15 weeks, and the family tries to change some of their habits, right? So that not only can the child lose weight, but the whole family can lose weight. Because what you notice in obesity is there is a family trend. Normally, if the child is heavier than what is normal,
you can damn near bet
the parents are probably a little bit heavy as well, or quite a bit heavy. And so normally it's a family issue. And this is why you can probably say, okay, so it's probably, I guess you could say it's still genetic, but there's plenty of brothers, there's plenty of sisters, there's plenty of family members that you'll have a fat family member and then a non-fat member that came from the exact same parents. Uh-huh. And so the whole genetic thing, I always fight hard against it. There are things that make it harder, but I'm never going to say it's impossible. It's not impossible because, unfortunately, you still need the calories to gain the weight.
So,
go ahead.
We need to start addressing the food issue, right?
That's what I want to get to. Yeah.
So it was really funny.
And
so this was last weekend, last Saturday or Sunday. Oh, must have been last Saturday. I don't know why it's becoming a blank to me, but Britt and I were really busy Saturday morning and Saturday afternoon last Saturday. Anyways, I remember I was tired of shit, and then all of a sudden we're like, oh, our church is doing this food drive, and I'm like, that's about the last thing I want to do. But damn it, we grabbed our bag, we grabbed our list, we're doing it, right? And I remember we're in the grocery store, and I was like, all right, well, we're gonna shop like it's us shopping. Like, we eat a very clean diet. Like, we're checking off our list, we're getting our peanut butters and all that shit. And then all of a sudden, I get to the list, and a can of Spam is on the recommended list. Mm-hmm. And I'm like, no. How about instead of one can of Spam, I'm going to do 3 cans of the organic canned chicken. So I still want non-perishable, but it was so interesting. So we're automatically assuming because they're less fortunate than most, they're on the receiving end of this.
Is Spam bad for you? I don't know. I've never eaten it.
Oh my gosh, it's.
Is it all salty?
I would say it's probably 98% salt, 2% fat.
Interesting.
So anyways, and we just had a conversation.
What is the meat?
It's a great question. I don't want to know.
Okay.
I've had it before, and it's honestly fantastic tasting. You never had spam fried rice at a Hawaiian restaurant? Dude, it's fantastic.
Is it good?
Oh, it is. You feel like absolute shit afterwards.
Oh yeah. See, I've never done it.
But it's gross.
Interesting. Yeah, I've never ordered Spam.
Yeah.
Okay, so you guys got chicken breast instead.
Yeah. But anyways, there was a list of 15 ingredients. And I was like, hey, first and foremost, Britt and I, we recognize we're incredibly fortunate people, and we're happy that we're able to provide, somewhat regularly to the less fortunate. And I'm thinking, I was like, but how bad that this is the recommended list?
It's funny. They were doing a food drive down the street at the church. I drove by it last week, and I kind of thought about that. I was wondering, when I drove by it, I was thinking, I wonder how many people just give the crappiest food instead of the food that they like.
So I was just about to say, so I was like, no. And Britt, she literally just asked me. It's not like she was trying to go for the shitty stuff. I was like, so, oh yeah, how do you want to do this? I was like, I want to shop. Like, this is our shopping list. I eat all organic materials.
I don't know if this has anything to do with the obesity thing, because I don't think organic or non-organic is an obesity thing.
So I wasn't saying that, but did we not earlier address the socioeconomic status of the obesity?
Yeah, so I don't know.
So organic is 40 to 50% more.
No, I get
price.
That. I get that, but I don't know. So you say a can of beans. They're both 180 calories.
Yep.
They both have the same fat, everything, but one is organic, one is non-organic. I don't think one of them will lead you towards obesity and one will not.
But
personally.
But it's one of those things where it's a quality of food.
I do think the quality kind of matters, but...
So it's one of those things where I eat a McDonald's cheeseburger. I'm still getting those carbs from that highly processed bullshit of a bun, to where that would not nearly be as good of a quality of carb if I were to get it from like organic spaghetti or an organic bun or something like that, right?
So the quality that you're, I think, mentioning is like the mineral content or vitamin content.
The nutrient content, correct.
Yeah.
How nutritious is the food that I'm consuming?
Yeah.
Is it filled with pesticides and all this bullshit? Or is it actual ingredients?
Yeah, it's interesting that you're going down this route. I don't know. I know that there is a difference in mineral and vitamin content, right?
Totally.
In
irrefutable, yeah.
I know that there is, right? And it's funny. I keep on hearing more and more about the mineral content in some foods is depleted, and so let's just say
non-existent.
Yeah, exactly. So let's say in a non-organic vegetable, the amount of magnesium or iron that used to be, let's say, 100%. Max amount I could absorb.
I hear you.
And today it's at 30%. Okay. Well, my body as a human still needs X amount of magnesium or iron or whatever it is. Okay. Well, when I would eat that vegetable 100 years ago with 100% magnesium and iron, I would only need one head of lettuce.
Mm-hmm.
To receive the same amount of magnesium and iron, I now need to eat 2 heads of lettuce or 3. So by eating 2 or 3, I've increased the amount of calorie consumption.
Yep.
Carbs, all those things. So what you're trying to say is that there might be almost like a bodily function stating, hey, I still need my iron. I still need my magnesium. I'm still hungry, wink, wink. Go get me some of those minerals, or otherwise your cells won't be able to reproduce properly, or whatever it is. So now I go get more food. So instead of when I go to a McDonald's and order 1 burger, I'm ordering 3 burgers to meet the exact same requirements from a nutrient level.
Yep. But
the problem is I'm having to consume 3 times as many calories to get the same nutrients. Okay, buddy, you unlock something here.
So that's the problem, right?
I didn't know this was
quality versus quantity. I'm sorry.
Yeah, and it's funny for our listeners, guys. I do not buy food from restaurants. I don't do it. I don't go to a fast food. Never. Like in a month, 1 time. 2 times. Like
I would say in a month. I would say Britt and I in a month. Now, outside of work travel, right? Mm-hmm. Outside of work travel, that can't count.
Yeah.
Outside of work travel, I would say Britt and I probably 3 to 5.
Okay.
Times a month.
Yeah,
we'll go to a restaurant.
Yeah, you guys more than me. We cook breakfast, lunch, dinner, and snacks at our house, right? And the only one that we would ever replace is dinner on a weekend with like pizza. Like we're like, hey, you know what? Lillian's like, hey, I want to do pizza and movie. We'll do that, right? And so we cook all of our food. So I always assume I'm doing the best thing with my nutrients, but I think I understand exactly what you're saying here is if people go out, they probably are ordering more food than necessary because their brain is saying, hey, I need more iron and things like that.
Uh-huh.
Now, what about the kids, though? They're not the one ordering. Do you think their parents are just saying, hey, you need more food because you're hungry still? Or what do you, like, why are the kids obese? Because kids are more obese than they used to be.
So the kids are obese because of video games,
Okay.
cell phones.
So inactivity.
Yeah.
To burn those excess calories that they normally
It is no longer cool to do what you and I did, meet up every single day after school, ride bikes.
You don't think people do that anymore?
Dude,
You think it's a minority?
there's a reason why Call of Duty is, despite it just changing its name and maybe the colors of the fucking game, is the number one game every single year for the last 10 years. Right? There's a reason why PlayStation and Xbox are just creating literally new additions, i.e. LeBron James is now going to be on the PlayStation. It's not changing from a function standpoint, but hey, now it has LeBron James on it. Right? So I think there has been a shift. And honestly, guys, it's almost from a societal issue. It's not even just kids. It's literally just the parents. I mean, you and I were just talking about both of our companies have just gone through a wave of new hires, and probably only 20% are worth a single ounce of shit. Like, there has been a shift in society to where we don't want to work hard. And look, Simon Sinek said it best, said it first, to my understanding. How you do anything is how you do everything. And if you're not going to work hard at your job, if you're not going to work hard in your spiritual life, in your personal life, in your romantic life, if you're not going to work hard, there's just certain people you can't win with. And this is just kind of the shift that we've had in society. But here's where I'm also conflicted. Because look, I went down a weird rabbit hole to where people are saying, oh, we should tax, per the sugar content, per the fat content is going to be. I was like, guys. We're talking about the lowest income individuals are buying these goods, and now you're just going to make them go hungry.
Yeah, you can't tax.
So the problem is, okay. Oh well, I don't want to tax them. I want to tax McDonald's. Well, guys, let me teach you how fucking business works. Then, so this is where I'm conflicted. Do I really want my government?
And what Jared meant there, guys.
Oh, I'm sorry. Thank you.
McDonald's is just going to push the cost to the consumer. So who still pays it? The low income individual that's buying McDonald's. Just so everybody knows.
Thank you. So where I'm conflicted is because clearly, actually, as a recent report would state that we're going to be all obese over the last 2035. I'm sorry. Where I'm conflicted is this is where it's difficult because there's clearly a need. And hey, I'm a self-proclaimed, capitalist, right? So am I saying that, hey, there's a need and there should be a company that meets that need and that's a perfect marriage? Even if it's the wrong need, where do I step in?
Yeah.
That's where I'm so conflicted, man.
Well, I think it's short-term versus long-term. As we get this kind of closed up here, because I get it, guys. This has been a fun one.
So do you have to...
But go ahead.
That's a slippery slope, short-term versus long-term. Because then you should abolish all payday loan places.
I know. So short-term, right?
It's dangerous, man.
Well, for a company, right? For short-term, simagultide, surgery, short-term fix.
Irrefutable.
What I tell you, though, what happens when you do those things?
Loss of muscle mass, loss of metabolism.
Okay, so for the drug, yeah. Okay, surgery, yeah. You reduce your appetite. Now this kid has a scar for the rest of their life.
They're not going to get made fun of in high school.
Okay, yeah, exactly. A scar. Oh, well, they shouldn't be making fun of them. Guys, that is part of how you grow up. And so our point is like outliers are outliers. Like, you can't say something's not an outlier. And having a scar across your stomach because you got, your stomach stapled, that's an outlier. So unfortunately, outliers get kind of made fun of.
Both ends of the spectrum.
Exactly. Right? The tallest kid, the shortest kid.
Always.
Exactly.
Ronnie
the fattest kid, the skinniest kid.
Yep.
Right? Whatever the outlier is, there's a reason that an outlier is essentially somebody that's like, what is going on here? And that's funny in itself. What is going on here? So you get a scar. Okay, you already have now this problem that you have to deal with. Now you have increased depression. You probably have anxiety whenever you're taking off your shirt, right? There's just all these things. Then you go through the rest of your life thinking, okay, damn, if I don't do everything perfectly, I probably am going to get fat again like when I was a kid. And I'll have to go through surgery again. There's all these other things that are mentally, like that is not necessary. And I'm just thinking like, you might have like a depressed state permanently. I was thinking with the surgery.
So it's funny that you went there because I actually didn't.
Oh, okay.
I actually almost went in the opposite.
You think it fixes them?
I think it's a quick fix.
That's what I'm saying. Short term. So short term it fixes.
But hold on. So
I'm sorry.
right now, look, I would say you and I are in average shape.
Yeah.
We've both been in better. We've both been in
Yeah,
worse.
100%.
Right? We're in average shape right now.
Yeah.
However, we both know because we've both been in really good shape.
Yeah.
We both know what it takes.
Mm-hmm.
And no shit.
Oh,
let's say you evolve, you eat a clean diet. We stop recording for a month.
Yeah.
No. We stop recording for X amount of time.
Yeah.
You eat impeccably. You cut down on snacks. How long will it take for you to see the slightest change in the mirror?
Oh, I could see results in 30 to 45 days.
Wow. Okay, that's pretty quick. I was going to go 6 to 8 weeks, but okay, let's go.
Right?
Let's go 4 to 6 weeks.
Yeah.
30 to 45 days.
Yeah.
I just got 3 text messages. Oh, 3 people want to talk to me. Oh, an Instagram notification, an Outlook notification, Fox News. That
sounds like a long
surgery
time.
is a quick fix. I'm going to. I don't have to do that diet bullshit or exercise. I'm just going to get surgery. So I actually think it actually, not this whole depression stuff about the scar. I actually think it just enforces, I just got another quick fix.
Okay.
That's what I thought.
No, I'm on board with both. I think all of those result in long-term issues. All those quick fixes, right? They have consequences. As we know, everything that is important in life does not happen instantly.
Correct.
Right? We know that.
Yep.
We found that out. We thought things that could happen quick 10 years ago. We found out that we were just stupid and we were 20 years old.
Mm-hmm.
Now we know that if things take a long time, it probably is well worth the time. Right? That's what, essentially things do. And I think you're right. There is value that you earn with doing things over time. And then you respect how long it took. So that every time you want to go ahead and say, just your point, I want to lose weight. Okay, well, you know what? I have to actually put in the work to do it. I got to respect the work. It's not 2 days, surgery, recovery, and all of a sudden, in 10 days, 3 days, I all of a sudden lost 2 pounds. That's not likely, right? And maybe you're right. I probably even went shorter because I was just saying respectable looking, right? Whatever it might be. You're right. It probably would take 3 months to what you were saying. I'm sorry. I probably just went aggressive.
And I'm sure you could be right, but
Yeah. No, like you honestly cutting out beer. Like there's a reason there's what's it called, the dry 30 or something like that.
dry January.
Yeah, and people look dramatically different from January 1st, and that's what I was imagining.
Yeah,
right. I was thinking, people do that whole month where they don't drink and they just eat clean, and they look dramatically different. So I think with the kid thing, man, as we kind of wrap this thing up, I don't like that they changed the rules. I
hate it.
I think
Such a cop out.
I don't know if not only is it a cop out for the kids because they're not making these decisions.
No, clearly, I'm not faulting the kids, guys.
Yeah, I think it is a profit motive by the insurance, the medical, and the drug companies. I think they're all trying to say, you know what? We don't know how to make more profit. We're not creating better things. Let's just expand the amount of
market.
people.
Let's expand our market.
Bingo.
Boom. Oh, you weren't supposed to take this to 20? Now you can take it at 5.
And I'm faulting that. I think they're looking for short-term profits because unfortunately that person now is going to live shorter amount of time because of all these risks. They're looking to make their quarter earnings. And I don't like that. I think they are legitimately putting a problem in our kind of civilization, our society, right? The last thing you ever want to do with children is add drugs and surgery. I look at that and I almost am disgusted that that's even an option. It makes a bad taste in my mouth to even say it. Like, guys, these are kids that are going to fix
A cosmetic surgery.
at 12 years old.
A cosmetic surgery in general, or an elective surgery in general, that's a different issue.
Yeah.
But an elective or cosmetic surgery before the age of 18, that's disgusting that you're recommending that.
And then you're taking advantage of parents that don't know another option. Right? And then the kids, they have no choice in the situation. And that's where I get so upset. I get really mad because that kid doesn't want to go in and get surgery. That's disgusting to me. I hear that. I'm like, you imagine 12 years old and you're like, yeah, I'm going to go get surgery because I eat too much food. Like, I almost want to throw up. That's how much it makes me want to. I'm disgusted. A 12-year-old, a 13-year-old.
But the fact that these leaders and these health organizations don't share that same disgust, don't share that same opinion, is what's borderline appalling.
How long? Let's say there's somebody that's obese, 100 pounds. I don't know if a kid can be 100 pounds overweight when they're 12. Maybe they can. I don't know. Let's just say 100 pounds. Extreme example. How long can a 12-year-old in an average situation probably become not obese? 2 years? 3 years, maybe max.
Maybe that long.
Exactly.
Because when you're that fat, it's easy to melt off the weight.
You increase your activity every day. You join a free sports program through YMCA or something like that. And you reduce your calorie intake. A kid is ready to melt fat.
So you know what's funny? So
God, I get so mad.
I was trying to think of ways. It's just so difficult because, you know, in all these podcasts we've talked about, you know, who's at fault, because I hate blaming the kid. I was like, oh, well, do I just make the gym membership free for people under 18? You know, hey, everyone else pays an extra 15% more.
Yeah.
And all the kids are free. Okay, well, then how do they get to the
gym?
How do they get to the gym? Oh, well, do I make the bus fare or the Uber free?
We didn't need a gym. No one needs a gym at that age. You don't need a gym. You don't need a gym.
I would agree.
What do you need? You need outside.
Bike and
No, you don't need
shoes.
a bike. Do you even need a bike? How many times did we not ride bike? I don't remember riding bikes actually half the time.
That's a good point. We did walk a lot.
We
literally wouldn't do anything. We would just walk.
Exactly.
Walk and talk.
Bingo. And that's where I don't think you need anything. I think you need outside. Well, that's free. That is 100% free. It is free for everybody. The only cost is a parent or a medical, you know, the smartest people in America, apparently, right, are doctors and our federal government that makes all these rules to say, you know what, guys, get outside. Get outside, have some activity. The problem is that that's not that fun. It's not exciting to say. There's no money to be made with outside, is there?
Quite literally.
Who made money right there and that me and you walking outside? Zero.
Sometimes we would buy popsicles at Albertsons.
Once a week for like $3.
Yeah.
Right? When we had extra spare change in cash, we would literally pool our money for $3. Had quarters and dollar bills. And we'd be like, I think we can buy this pack. Let's go. Like,
the majority of our walks were to Albertsons to go to the bakery.
Free
get
cookies.
A free cookie and then walk back.
All the way back. A free cookie for a sample. And that's where I'm just like so amazed. Like, I'm like, I look at that, I think, it's not like I had a privileged upbringing where I was afforded, soccer practice on Tuesdays with mom, baseball practice with my dad on Wednesdays and Fridays. Oh, and then I have gymnastics on Thursdays and Saturdays.
How much did your dad travel?
Exactly. I was a latchkey kid. My parents didn't get home till 6 o'clock. I had 3 to 6. I had to be home by the time my parents got home to make dinner, right? Just like your parents.
Yeah.
Just like your parents. And I don't know if kids do that. And hey, are we in a perfect climate to do that? Or are you sweating your balls off at 120 degrees? We're in Arizona, guys. For everybody listening, we are sweating and walking. Like the
all summer long.
For school would literally not allow us to have recess. And we would say,
Okay, we'll go outside.
hey, walk underneath. Remember the sidewalk would like be radiating heat, and we'd like walk underneath the shade.
Those basketball courts.
Yeah, and you try to get underneath the tree when you're walking on a path. Okay, guys. Really appreciate this. We're going to wrap this up. Please add anything. I think changing the guidelines for obesity for children is ridiculous. I think it enables a cop-out. I think it allows for children to be more obese long-term, right? It allows parents to be irresponsible almost, right? To not make the hard decision, and say, sorry, no, you can't eat that. Oh, sorry, you know what? I'm not going to use rewards as the way that I can negotiate with my child. I think all those things, it allows the parent to be able to use easy ways out and then say, you know what? Let's get on some drugs. Let's get on some surgery. And by the time you're 18, you'll be an average adult, and then you can figure out the rest of your life. I think it just makes it pushes the responsibility to elsewhere. And I hate that.
Couldn't agree more.
Okay.
Thanks, guys, for listening.
Thanks, guys. Later.
Bye.